Minasan, ohayo gozaimasu. Welcome! This channel is for Japanese learners of English. Hyomo shadowing no lesson will yat ikimashou. Listen to today's real native conversation. Focus on the rhythm and shadow along. Practice daily to master tango, bunpao, hatsuan, and rhythm. Repeat and try again tomorrow if needed. Zei. Chenaru no toroku. Wo onegai shimasu. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
Ever wanted to sound like a movie buff? I mean, not just saying it was good, but really diving into what made a film great. Or maybe you need to write a movie review for a class. There's a way, to talk about movies without sounding too basic.
Yeah, you're right. It's about going beyond the surface. So where do we even start when someone asks, how was the movie?
Okay, so first off, you got to move past it was good. That's like the absolute starting point, right? Instead, think about using words that capture how the movie made you feel.
Like instead of just good, you could say it was touching if it moved you, or hilarious if it had you laughing, right?
Yeah.
It's all about specifics.
Exactly. And if you want to spice things up, try using heartwarming for those feel-good films. The ones that just make you smile at the end. Or original if it was something you haven't seen before.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it. Original for something new. So what if you want to dig deeper? What if it wasn't a straight up, I loved it or hated it type of thing?
Okay, then you got to get into the details. Like, was the story interesting? Did the actors pull you in with their performances?
Right, it's not just about the plot. I mean, you could say, the acting was amazing, really believable, if the actors did a great job. That's a very specific, detailed comment.
Yeah, and you can also comment on the visuals, like, the cinematography was astonishing, if the film looked beautiful, or the movie is full of plot twists and surprises, if it kept you on the edge of your seat.
Those are all good ways to show that you actually paid attention, not just zoning out. What about the opposite, like when a movie just didn't land?
Oh, that's important too. You can't just say, it was bad, right? You gotta explain why.
Exactly. You could say, I didn't enjoy the movie, to be blunt, or I found this movie boring, if you were, well, bored.
Yeah, and then if you want to be more specific, you can be like, the story was unclear, or the acting was really bad, completely emotionless.
Yeah, and sometimes a movie's just too predictable. So saying the movie was quite predictable gets that across. Or maybe it was too long and slow.
So how does all this tie back to sounding more like a real movie buff? Is there a shortcut or a simple structure to follow?
Well, after you've shared your feelings, try explaining what kind of film it was. I mean, was it a thriller, a comedy? The basics.
Yeah, you got to mention the genre and then maybe drop the name of the director or the actors, like it was directed by so-and-so or Tom Hanks is in the movie.
Right. That kind of info shows you know your stuff. And adding where it is set and when can give it some context, like it's set in Paris in the 1940s or it's set in the near future in an imaginary country.
Okay, and if it's based on a book or something, how do we get that point across?
That's easy. Just say it's based on the book by author name. It's a neat detail.
This is also quite useful if you need to write something a bit more formal, like a review. Are there any tips for those?
Well, a review needs more than just your opinion, right? You have to, explain why you feel that way.
It's like stating, I didn't like it isn't enough. You got to explain why you didn't connect with the characters, the pacing, the story itself.
Exactly. And don't just summarize the plot. Describe it. What did it look like? How was the music? What was the set like? These are the things that will help the reader get a picture in their minds.
Right. Descriptions can capture the feel so much better than just recapping the plot. Makes all the difference. How about using the right kind of language? Any tips there?
Definitely. Use powerful language, not just a bunch of adjectives. It's more about being persuasive, conveying your enthusiasm, whether you're praising or critiquing something.
So instead of just saying it was good, try saying it was incredible, it was a must-watch. Or if you didn't like it, it was truly disappointing.
Exactly. And it's fine to be negative if the movie deserves it, but do it with clever and witty language. I bet that's a real way to capture attention.
So what's the key takeaway from all this when it comes to movie discussions?
Well, it's about getting personal, It's about sharing your reaction, what you experienced, and explaining all of it.
So it is less about just saying a movie is good or bad, but more about explaining your personal connection and feelings of the film and why.
All right, we've finished today's lesson. How did you find it? 理解できない部分はありませんでしたか? Repeat and try again tomorrow if needed. Please let me know your kanso or request in the comments. ぜひチャンネルの登録をお願いします. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. See you next time. Bye bye.